Well, hello everyone. So today I'm out here fixing this rat's nest of wiring on my JCB 208s. And the first thing I need to do is put a new ignition switch in. So the last time I was working on this, got the engine going, got everything going, came out here a few days later to try to crank it again to start working on the wiring, and the ignition switch fell to pieces. So I went to go turn the key and it was just spinning, nothing was happening. And I played with it a little bit more, and the whole bottom, which was underneath here, it's gone now, I took it out, just fell off. And all there was basically, the top part of where the key goes into the ignition, but all the electronics and everything on the bottom had just completely fallen apart. And here's all the wires and everything that were still connected to bits and pieces that were on it. So I went online and ordered me a universal ignition switch. Here it is in the box. Just went to Amazon and picked me up a switch. This is what it looks like in the bag. So this is basically going to be going over how I put this ignition switch into this skid steer. All right, so here's the ignition switch out of the bag. It's very basic. I mean, this is just cheap generic ignition switches, and they have some designations on the bottom of here, like your constant battery and your accessory, your ignition, all that kind of stuff. It's all on here. No instructions in the box or anything, so you basically just need to go off the symbols and then know how your wiring was done. But I need to wire this up. Like I said, these are the wires that came off, and the bottom just came off, and all of these little prong pieces kind of fell apart too. So I can figure out what all these are, but they kind of just came apart, so it wasn't like I had a good picture to work with. But I'm gonna go ahead and start wiring this thing up, and we'll test it out. One of the things too I'm going to get rid of is this isn't original. This is something someone added as a switch for the accessory. This basically kills the fuel pump solenoid and the electric lift pump that somebody added on here, and you can tell this was added later. So I'm going to rewire that a little bit and get that put in here too, because I'm just kind of tired of this little switch being here. All right, so this is what I've got. I wired this up. Now, the last ignition switch that was in here, I'm pretty sure, didn't have an accessory. I remember it was off, or then you turned it on, and then you pushed further and it cranked. That was it. I think it was just a three-way switch. This one, though, is different. This one has an accessory, then it has ignition, then it has, this is the positive for the battery, and this one also has the crank setting, which is great. So basically, this goes to the starter solenoid, this goes to the battery constant power, this goes to accessory mode for anything that you would want to turn on, like maybe lights, things of that nature, which I've got to go through. Like I said, this is a rat's nest of wires. I've got to go through the wires. These are the extra wires that come out of the main wiring harness for the engine. Like this goes to the engine and the fuses and all that. Anyways, there's a bunch of different wires I got to go through, but these are all disconnected. So whoever had this before didn't care about these wires. So I need to figure out where these go. And I'm sure they go to like the lights and stuff, because the lights don't work. This machine has lights, it has a windshield wiper, it has a horn, I think it has a reverse beeping signal. I mean, it has just a bunch of different features that it looks like whoever owned this machine before, just as a feature maybe messed up, they just decided to clip it off and be done with it. Hey, to all their own, whatever, I bought it the way it is. So I've went through these wires and I figured out what each one of these things does. This one, like I said, is the battery. This one goes to the starter. This one here goes to the backhoe solenoid. It looks like you have to have power to the backhoe. I mean, you have to have power to the tractor to operate the backhoe, even if you want to like drop the hydraulics or anything. There's a solenoid that has to activate, from my understanding here. This wire goes to the fuel pump shutoff, and it goes to the electric lift pump that they have wired into that same wire. So that's what this goes. And this bigger wire here is the accessory or the ignition wiring that goes back. And I actually added this because it had a little short wire here that was all falling apart, which powers a few extra accessories on this. One of them being, just like we have the backhoe solenoid, that it won't let you function the backhoe without that power. This one won't let you operate the loader without this power having, or without this wire having power. So this was the solenoid for the loader, and this was the solenoid wire for the backhoe. So those have to have power when you're on. I'm assuming there used to be some switches up here that you flip the switch to give it power or not, and these people just cut it off. So for now, I'm wiring that right into the switch. If I turn it on, I want to have power to those. So that's that. As you can see, like here, these people have this jumpered off. I'm actually going to make some of these loops like this so I can go through. As you can see, these go to switches, like these switches. These go to them, and you can tell there's wires set up for it. There's no, I would think if these weren't valid switches that they would have had some kind of a cap on these, but they're just sitting here. And as you can see, there's this is a broken switch. These are the cab lights, the front and the back. This is for a beacon. These are 3 that are missing. 2 of those I'm sure are these 2. Then the hour meter, which that doesn't light up, and then the other emergency lights again aren't there. I mean, I've just got lights hanging out in here, so I've got to go through all of this mess of wiring. But today I mainly wanted to get this ignition switch working because that was kind of a showstopper when that thing fell apart. Now I've got me an ignition switch wired up. Now I'm just gonna bolt it into this hole, and I'll do that before I close the video. All right, so now I got the ignition switch all tightened down and screwed in. I put a washer here because that hole is not bigger than this, but this would be wallowy, kind of wiggly in there. That hole's more wallowed out than that the shaft that goes to this. So I put this washer here to kind of make it tighter, and then underneath there I put I don't even know what they're called, but it's like a washer with like serrated cuts all the way around it, and they're kind of angled, and they snug up in there pretty good. So that's actually in there pretty tight, and that's it. So now I can just turn the key, and awesome, that's what I needed. Hope y'all liked the video. Thanks a lot.